Indeed you are, my dear. How are you today? And while I finish doing this, we can head over to the live scene and say hello. And welcome to Kriyagar as well. I'm not entirely sure what to read today. There's something on the back. Hold on. There we are. What else? Nothing in immediate range that really speaks. That one's part of a large collection of novels. I'm not sure we'll do this one. Possible though. Oh, that's a point. We could go into that one as well. No, I think we'll go with this actually. I like this one. But yes, I do sincerely hope that you are all very well today. Did I do one lesson today? I did not. Oh well. I'll do it another day. So today we will be doing short studies in English literature, the 15th version of Scottish historical ballads and poems. And as you can see, this has gone through a fair amount of abuse in its time. But happily, the insides are absolutely fine. Well, apart from the immediate page, that is. So without further delay, that reminds me, grab this, just in case. And we shall begin with our readings. Though that's bugging me with its size. There we go. Make a little scene, you know. Now, this particular book, oh, for the love of, my throat isn't working with me today. Much better. I reckon that'll do just fine. The works in this book force you to read in a very specific way. Where's the... ah, yes. So we shall start at the beginning, as all good stories should start. I couldn't resist it. Sir Patrick Spence. The king sits Dunfermline town, drinking the blood-red wine. Oh, where will I get Skeely skipper to sail the new ship o' mine? Oh, up spake an elder knight, sat in the king's right knee. Sir Patrick Spence is the best sailor that ever sailed the sea. The king was writing a braid letter and sealed it with his hand, and sent it to Sir Patrick Spence. Was walking on the strand to Norway, to Norway, to Norway o'er the fame. This knight's daughter to Norway, 'tis thou maun bring her hame. The first word that Sir Patrick read, sae loud, loud laughter he, the neist word that Sir Patrick read, the tear blind in his e'e. Oh, wha is this has done his deed, and taught the king of me, to send us out this time of the year to sail upon the sea? Be it wind, be it weet, be it hail, be it sleet, our ship must sail the fame. The king's daughter to Norway, 'tis the must fetch her hame. They hoist the sails on Monday morn. Wi' speed they may. They hae landed in Norway upon the Wednesday. They hadn't been a week in Norway but twa, when the lords of Norway began to aloud to say, Ye Scotsmen spend Ye Scotsmen spend our king's God, and our queen's fee. Oh, I brought as much white money as gain, my men and me, and I brought a half fowl. Oh, good red gowd, out o'er the sea with me. Make ready, my merry men, aye. Our good ship sails the morn. Now, over a lake, my master dear, I fear a deadly storm. I saw the new moon last yestreen, wi' the auld moon in her arm. And if we gone to sea, master, I fear we'll be come to harm. They hadn't sailed a league, but barely 3, when the lift grew dark and the wind blew loud, and gally grew the sea. The ankles brake and the topmast lap. It was sick and deadly storm, and the waves came o'er the broken ship, till her sides were torn. Oh, where will get a good sailor to take helm in hand, till I get up to the tall topmast to see if I can spy land? Oh, here am I, a sailor good, to take the helm in hand, till you go to the tall topmast, but I fear you'll ne'er spy land. He hadn't gone a step, but barely ane, but a boat flew out of the godly ship, and the salt sea it came in. Guy, fetch a web, or a silken claith, another o' the twine, and wap them into ship's side, and let nae the sea come in. They fetched a web o' the silken claith, another o' the twine, and they wapped them round that good ship's side, but still the sea came in. Oh, Leith, where our good Scots lords to wait their cock, heeled shoon, but lang or the play was played. They wat their hats abone, and money was the father bed. They flattered on the fame, and money was the good Lord's son. They never mair came hame. The ladies wringing their fingers white, the maidens tore their hair. Aye, them shake their true loves, sake of their true loves, for them they'll see nae mair. A lang, lang may the ladies sit, wi' their fans into their hand, before they see Sir Patrick Spens come sailing to the stand. And lang, lang may the maidens sit, with their gaued kames in their hair, a-waiting for their ain dear loves, for them they'll see nae mair. Half hour to Bardon, 'tis 50 fathoms deep, and there lies good Sir Patrick Spens, with the Scots lords at his feet. I'm going to take a moment and let in the cat. All of that was written the way I read it. It forces you to read that way. And I do actually rather enjoy it when a book makes you read a specific way. But I shall just be a moment. My apologies. Come on, buddy. Nope. Never mind, I took too long to get to the door, and he wandered away. Get back under my old man blanket. Ow. Excuse me. I also do actually really like this. My brother got it for me. It's a lovely little bookmark that actually suits the book we're reading right now. It's ever so sweet. Very basic as well. The Battle of Stirling. Again, all of these are incredibly Scottish. Do we have a year for this one? I don't think we do. No, we don't. I will find out when this was written. But it doesn't appear to be easily prevalent in the book itself at this point. Anyway, to the second. The Battle of Stirling. Their muster then was awful for to see, of fighting men thousands they were 60, to Stirling past, before they liked to bide, to Stirling past, before they... I just read that line twice. That's entirely my fault. My apologies. Bide. To Earl Malcolm a siege they laid that tide, and through to keep the command of their king, but good Wallens thought for another thing. Dundee he left, and made a good chieftain, with 2,000, and kept that house of Stane. Of Angus men and dwellers of Dundee, the same night to St. Johnstone went he. Upon the morn the Shaffer he rade, and there a while in good array they bade. Sir John the Graeme and Ramsay, that was right. He said to them, "This is my purpose right. Or me kill, it is the proffer them betail. Upon the plain field, save we have some avail, Sir John and Gamey said, "We have undertaken with less power such thing that well is gain," then Wallace said. "Where such thing comes of need, we should thank God that makes us for to speed, but ne'er the big my purpose is to be, and work for them some subtle jeopardy." Ramsay answered, "The brig we may keep weel of way about, the Scotsman has little fail." Wallace sent Job the bottle for to set. The Tuesday next fight withouten let. On Saturday on the brig they raid. Of good plain board was well and junctly made. Sorry, I keep getting stumbled by where the letters and where the numbers are halfway through the sentence. I know that's understandable for the explanation down at the bottom here. Let's have a quick check. That was 11, which... Exactly, yeah. Totally. Interesting. Made caused guards to watch that nane should from them pass. A white. He took the subtlest that there was, and ordered him to saw the board in two. By the mid-street, that none might o'er it go. On hinges strung, nailed it full fast and soon, then filled it with clay, as nothing had been done. The other end he ordered for to be how it should stand on 3 rollers of tree. When one was out, that the rest down should fall, himself under he ordered it there withal, bound by the beam in a cradle to sit, to lose the pin when Wallace let him wit. But with the horn, when it was time to be... Oh, I do apologize. I'm not sure what's up with me. With horn when it was time to be, in all the host should no man blow but he. The day approached of the great betrayal. The Englishmen for numbers would not fail. 6 they were against 1 of Wells. 50,000 made them to battle place. The others abode at the castle still. Both field and house they thought to take at will. The worthy Scots upon the other side, the plan field took, on foot made them to bide. Hugh Cressingham the vanguard leads, he with 20,000 of likely men to see. 30,000 the Earl of Warren had, but he did then, as the wise men him bade. All the first host before him o'er was send. Some Scotsmen that well the manner kenned, bade Wallace blue, and said they were anew. He hasted, but not sadly, did pursue. Whilst Wereman's host thick on the brig he saw from Jock the horn. He hyented seized Alright, and did blow so keenly and warned good John right. The roller out he struck with great sleight. The rest went down when the pins out goes. The hideous cry among the people arose. Both horse and men into the water fell. The hardy Scots that would no longer dwell. Did he kick that out under his own men? Set on the rest with strokes sad and sair of them o'er there at the time sure they were. At the forebest they proved them hardly, Wallace and Graeme, Boyd and Ramsay, and Lundy, all in the Star, fast fighting face to face. The Southern host back reared of that place, that they first took 5 acres, freedeth the more. Wallace on foot, a great sharp spear he bore, among the thickest of the press he gaze. On Cressingham a stroke chosen he has, in the Byrons that polished was full bright. The punzard had the plates pierced right through the body, sticking him without rescue. Boldly to death that chieftain was adieu. Both men and horse at that stroke he bore down. The English host, which was in battle bound, comfort they lost when their chieftain was slain. And many a one to flee began in plain, yet worthy men abode still in the stead, while 10,000 was brought unto their dead. Then fled the rest, and might no longer hide. So, sir, they sought on many diversing side, some east, some west, and some fled to the north. 7,000 large at once, floating in forth, plunged in the deep, and drowned without mercy. None left on life of the full company of Wallace. Host no man was slain of whale. 7 Andrews Murray in that strong betrayal. The south part then saw their men was tint als. 3 also. Oh, right, okay. Fiercely fled, as fire does oft with a flint. The place they left castle and sterling tone, towards Dunbar, in great haste made them born. And that is from Sir William Wallace by Blind Harry. Good Lord, I enjoy that. It's very enjoyable to read this, actually. It's not the easiest to read, but it does feel incredibly rewarding. It plays sweet havoc with your throat, though. The next being Bruce and the Bloodhound. The king was in great jeopardy, that was on either side based, with foes that to slay him threat, and the last part of them too was stronger far than he, and Mo. And when he saw them press him too, he thought in haste, what was to do, and said, Lords, we have no might at this time for to stand and fight. Therefore depart us in three. All shall not see assailed be, and in three parties hold are we. Sign to the council did he say. Betwixt themselves in private, in what place their repair should be. With that their gate all are they gane, and in three parts their way was ta'en. Then John and Lorne came to the place wherefore the king departed was, and in his trace he hounded he set. The hound he set, that then without longer let held even the way after the king. Alright, as he had him of knowing, and left the other parties twa, as he no cape to them would ta. And when the king saw him coming after his route into Ailing, he I have to find 10. Provided a great skill. How interesting. He thought he knew that it was he, therefore he bade his company, yet there in three depart them soon, and they did so without an hain, and held their way in three parties. The hound did then so great masteries that he held aye without changing after the route where was the king. And when the king was seen them so all in route after him ta, the way the follow not his men, he had a great perceiving then, that they knew him, for thine high, he bade his men right hastily, scale and ilk man hold this way all by himself, and so did they. Ike man sundry gate in gain, and the king has with him ta'en his foster brother without mo, and some in held their gate. They to the hound always followed the king, and changed not for no parting, but I followed the king's trace, but varying as he passed was. And when the John of Lorne saw the hound so hard after him draw, and following straight after them twa, he knew the king was one of tha. He bade 5 of his company, and were right white, men and hardy, and also on foot speediest were of all that in the rout were there, run after him, and him o'ertake, and let him no wise pass you fro. The 5 overtaken the future. What's this? Goblin time. Hello, daggers, how are you? The 5 overtake the fugitives. 3 attack Bruce, and 2 his foster brother. Bruce killed 1, then went to help his foster brother, and killed 1 of the enemies, following this up by slaying the other 2. The remaining Highlander was slain by the foster brother, and then the fugitives hurried on into the neighboring wood. How very strange. Woke up from a nap, now I'm eating my food. That sounds like a wonderful way to wake. Have a nice rest, and have a meal. The king told the wood is gane, weary, sweat covered, and wild of vein. Into the wood soon entered he, and held down toward a valley. When through the wood a water ran, thither in great haste went he then, and began to rest him there, and said he might no further mare. His men said, Sir, that may not be, abide ye here. You soon shall see 500 yeomen you to slay, and they are many against twa, and since we may not deal with might, help us all that we might with sight. The king said, Since that thou wilt so, go forth, and I shall with thee go. But I have heard oft say that who along a water would wade a bow shot, he should care. Both Slothhound and his leader Tyne, the Slother men get him ta. Prove we if it will now do so. Jesus, this is hard to read at times. For where but yon slaughter-hound away, I reckon not of the rest purvey. As he devised, they have done, and entered in the water soon, and held on along it their way, and saying at their land, gade they, and held their way as they did ere, and John and Lorne were great affair, came with this route right in the place where that his 5 men slain was. He made them when he then saw, and said after a little thraw, that he should venge in haste their blood, but other ways the game guide. There would he make no more dwellings, but forth in haste following the king. Right to the burn they passed but the Slothhound made steining there, and weaved long time to and fro, that he no certain gate could go, till at the last then John and Lorne perceived the hound the slave had Lorne, and said, We have tint this trail, to pass further may not avail, for the wood is both broad and wide, and he is well far by this tide. Therefore I rede we turn again, and waste no more travel in vain. With that realized his company, and his way to the host took he. That was from The Bruce by John Burbo. Good Lord, it's tricky to read this at times. I will again point out it is forcing me into an accent. Doing that voice isn't entirely intentional either. It's just brought on from the uncertainty of the words that are coming due to the very odd location of them. But we shall not halt, for we have the next one, the Eve of Bancabarn. Sorry, Banachban. Yeah, Banachban. The monarch rode along the van, the foes approaching forced to scan his line to marshal and to arrange, ranks to square, and fronts to change. Along he rode from head to heel, sheathed in his ready arms of steel. There. Nor mounted yet, or war-horse white, but till more near the shock of flight, Renainen, a palfrey low and light. A diadem of gold was set above his bright steel basenet, and clasped within its glitter in twain was seen the glove of Argentinian. Trenchron of landing staff he lacks, bearing instead a battle-axe. He ranged his soldiers for the fight, accounted thus in open sight of either host 3 bow-shots far, paused the deep front of England's war, and rested on their arms awhile, to close the ranks their warlike file, and hold high council if that night should view the strife of dawning light. I do have to say this is tremendous fun to read. And hello to Flurry. Fluxy? Fluxy boy. Oh, gay yet fearful to behold, flashing with steel and wrought with gold, and Bristol o'er with bills and spears, with plumes and pennons waving fair, was that bright battle front, for there rode England's king and peers. And who that saw the monarch ride, his kingdom battled by his side, could then this direful could then his direful doom foretell? Fair was his seat in knightly seal, and in this sprightly eye was sat some spark of the Plantagenet. Through light the wondering was his glance, it flashed at sight of shield and lance. Knowest thou, he said, d'Argentina, yon knight who marshalled thus their line? The tokens of that helmet tell the Bruce, my liege, I know him well. And shall the audience, traitor brave, the perceive where our banners wave? So please, my liege, said Argentini, were he but horsed on steed like mine, to give him fair and knightly chance, I would adventure forth my lance. In battle day, the knight replied, nice turning rules are set aside. Tourney rules. So it wouldn't be a fair fight, quote unquote. It wouldn't be for a tournament. Still must the rebel dare our wrath, set on him, sweep him from our path, and at King Edward's signal soon dashed from the ranks Sir Henry Bonse. Our Hereford's high blood he came, a grace renowned for knightly fame. he bounced before his monarch's eye to do some deed of chivalry. He spurred his steed, he coached his lance, and darted on the Bruce at once. As motionless as a rock that bide the wrath of the advancing tide, the Bruce stood fast, each breast beat high, and dazzled was each gazing eye. The heart had scarcely time to think, the eyelid scarcely had time to wink, while the king, like flash of flame, spurred to full speed the war horse came. Yes, if you are new here, by the way, we are reading Scottish historical ballads and poems. And it's tremendous good fun, but it's very hard to read. Not only because I am dyslexic, but it is forcing you into a particular reading pattern. The partridge may the falcon mock, if that sight palfrey stand and shock. But Swervel from the knight's career, just as they met, Bruce shunned the spear. Onward the baffled warrior bore his curse, but soon his curse was o'er. High in the stirrups stood the king, and gave his battle-axe a swing, right on Dibonce. The whilst he passed, fell that stern dint, the first, the last. Such strength upon the blow was put, the helmet crashed like hazelnut. Sorry, crushed. Yeah, crashed. Thought I would be crushed. The axe shaft, with its brazen clasp, was shivered to the gauntly grasp. Springs from the blow, and started horse drops to the plain, the lifeless corse. First of the fatal field, how soon, how sudden, fell the fierce Dibonce. Once pitying glance the monarch sped, where on the field his foe lay dead. Then gauntly turned his palfrey's head, and paced back his sober way. Slowly he gained his own array. There round the king the leaders crowded, and blame his reckless allowed, that risked against each adventurous spear a life so valued and so dear. His broken weapon shaft surveyed the king, and careless answer made. My loss may pay my folly's tax. I've broken my trusty battle-axe. Good grief. As I say, I am thoroughly enjoying reading these. If anyone has a particular favourite Scottish poem or something to that effect, I'm sure we can find one. And if they are ones written in such a manner that they force you to read a certain way, I am quite alright with that. I mean, you can tell that's happening with this one. I'm not sure I'll be reading this one today, so I can go back into the pile. How are we all doing today? I must admit, where I'm very obviously terribly English, ironically, we don't actually know, well, we're not so much taught the history between the British and the Scottish. It is interesting to read. I mean, obviously we're taught about Hades' Wall and that kind of thing. But other than that, it's basically just, well, we conglomerated, we took power over them, and now we own them. that's pretty much all we're taught. One moment. Terribly sorry. I was half cheated out of a sneeze. And as ever, we shall just simply carry right along. Hang on, was that not the same as this one? The eve of... Ah, right, okay, so this is the actual event. Cool. Bankaban. Now onwards, and in open view, the countless ranks of England drew. In front of gallant archers trod, the men at arms behind them rode, and midmost of the phalanx broad, the monarch held his sway. Beside them many a war horse fumes, around him waves a sea of plumes. Upon the Scottish foe he gazed, at once before his sight amazed. Sunk banner, spear, and shield, each weapon point is downward sent. Each warrior in the ground is bent. The rebels, Argentina, repent. For pardon they have kneeled. Aye, but the bend to other powers, and other pardons sue than ours. See where your barefoot abode stands, and blesses them with lifted hands upon the spot where they were kneeled. These men will die, or win the field. Then prove we if they die or win. Bid Gloucester Earl the fight begin. Earl Gilbert waved his truncheon high, just as the northern ranks arose, signal the England's archery to halt, and bend their bows. They stepped each yeoman forth apace, glanced at the intervening space, and raised their left hand high. To the right ear the cord they bring. At once 10,000 bowstrings ring, 10,000 arrows fly, nor paused on the devout Scot. The ceaseless fury of their shot, as fearful and as fast, forth whistling came the grey goose wing, as the wild hailstone pelt ring. Adown December's blast, nor montage of tough bull hide, nor lowland mail that storm may bide. Woe, woe to Scotland's bannered pride, if she fell shower may last. Upon the right, behind the wood, each by his steed dismounted stood, the Scottish chivalry. With foot in stirrup, hand on mane, fierce Edward Bruce can scarce restrain his own keen heart, his eager train, until the archers gained the plain. Then, mount ye gallant galleons free, he cried, and vaulting from the ground, he saddled every horseman found. And loud about Edward Bruce, from martial on the peasant's foe. Sorry, that was actually a read out part. We'll tame the terrors of their bow and cut bowstrings loose. Then spur was dashed in charge's flanks. They rushed among the archers' ranks. No spear where there the shock to let. No stakes to turn the charge were set. And how shall yeoman's armour slight stand the lost lance of mace or might? Amid their ranks the chargings sprung, high o'er their heads the weapons swung. Shriek and groan and vengeful shout give note of triumph and of rout. Awhile the stubborn hardihood their English hearts the strife made good. Borne down at length on every side, compelled to fight, their scatter wide, pierced through, trod down by thousands slain, they cumber Bonnec's bloody plan. The king with scorn beheld their flight. Are these, he said, our yeomen white? Each brigade Charles could best befoe. 12 Scotsmen lives, his Baltic bore. Forward each gentleman and knight, let gentle blood show generous might, and chivalry redeem the fight. But in mid-space the Bruce care had bored the ground with many a pit, with turf and with brushwood hidden yet, that formed a ghastly snare. Rushing 10,000 horsemen came, with spears in the rest and hearts on flame, that punted for the shock, with blazing crest and banners spread, with trumpet clang and clamoured dread. The wide plain thundered to their tread, as far as Stirling Rock. Down, down in headlong overthrow, horseman and horse the foremost go, wild floundering on the field. The first are in Desteration's gorge, their followers widely o'er them urge the knightly helm and shield, the mail, the action, and the spear. Strong hand, high heart are useless here. Loud from the mass confused they cry of dying warriors swells on high, the steeds that shriek in agony. Too strong in courage and in might was England yet to yield the fight. Her noblest all are here, names known too well in Scotland's war. At Falkirk, Methven, and Dunbar, Pembroke, with those and Argentine, brought up the rearward battle line. The caution o'er the ground they tread, slipping with blood and piled with dead, till hand to hand in battle set, the bills with spears and axes met, and closely dark on every side regard the full contest far and wide, and ruffian stern and soldier good, the noble and the slave, from various course the same wild road on the same bloody morning trode, to that dark in the grave. The tug of strife to flag begins, though neither loss yet nor wins. Douglas leans on his war sword now, and Randolph whips his bloody brow. Strong Egremont for air must gasp. Bitchamp undoes his vision clasp. The blows of Berkeley fall less fast, and gallant Pembroke's bugle blast hath lost its lively tone. Sinks Argentine the battle word, the Percy shout was faintly heard. My merry men, fight on. Whew. Hello, Nina the Prefect. Bruce with the pilot's wary eye the slackening of the storm could spy. One effort more, and Scotland's free. At once the spears were forward thrown, against the sun the broadswords shone. The Pibroch gent is modern tone, maddening tone. The loud King Robert's voice was known. Carrack, press on, they fail, press on, brave sons of Insgale. The fresh and desperate onset bore the foe from furlongs back and more. The multitude that watched after, rejected from the ranks of war, had not unmoved beheld the fight, when strove the Bruce for Scotland's right. Each heart had caught the patriot spark, old man and stripling, priest and clerk. To arms they flew, axe, club, or spear, and mimic ensigns high they rear. And like a bannered host afar, bear down on England's weird war. Already Scotland o'er the plain, reproof, command and counsel vain, the reward squadrons fled amain, rearward, or made but doubtful stay. But when they marked the seeming show of fresh and fierce and marshalled foe, the boldest broke array. Oh, gave their helpless prince his due. In vain the royal Edward threw his person mid the spears, cried, "Fight!" To terror and despair, menaced and wept, and tore his hair, and cursed their citive fears, till Pembroke turned his bridle rein, and forced him from the fatal plain. And that was all from The Lord of the Isles by Sir Walter Scott. Oh, we've read others by Sir Walter Scott. This book is the Scottish Historical Ballads and Poems. It's truly wonderful. It's very much written in a very specific way that does force you to read, vaguely as I am. But this is the 15th one in the series, and I do intend to be getting the others. Because if it gives me other bits of insight like this, I think it would be well worth the time and investment. I'd actually be very intrigued as to whether or not he does. Oh, he's from Scotland. Oh, lovely. I mean, these are definitely old books that I'm on about. Oh, I don't think I have enough tea for this. He'll most likely know of the wars because everybody in, realistically, the United Kingdom understands the wars that happened during Revelation. Scotland were very much trying to be free. They were trying to break away from England, and full respect to them. But we didn't want them to be free as they were our land. I would very much go for more, my dear. This one's only a short one. Scots Wehe. Bruce's address to his army. Scots Wehe we Wallants bled, Scots when Bruce his after led. Welcome to your gory bed or to victory. Now's the day, and now's the hour. See the front of battle lower. See approach proud Edward's power, chains and slavery. Wha will the traitor knave? Wha can fill the coward's grave? Wha see base as be a slave? Let him turn and flee. Posture check is a very good idea, thank you. Very much sat on my leg as ever. And thank you very much for the follow, Benjamin FVH. I appreciate it. The Heart of the Bruce. I just had some, but okay. You people look after me. Oh, of course I have a beard, yes. It is good to see you both, though. I swear you're better at looking after me than I am. Where for Scotland, king and law, freedom's sword will strangely draw. Freeman stand, or freeman far, let him follow me. By opposing wars and pains, by our son in servile chains, we will drain our dearest veins, but they shall be free. Lay the proud usurpers low, tyrants fall in every foe, liberty in every blow. Let us do our due. We must look after you. Who else will do a poetry night for us? Ah, I must admit I've not actually seen anyone else do anything to this effect, so I'm quite happy to do this. Plus, this kind of stuff is going to die if it's not kept alive. And I don't want that. It's not necessarily history I'm proud of being British, but it's got to be remembered. And I find it absurd that we're not letting them leave. That was that. So, the Heart of the Bruce. The trumpets blew, the crossbolts flew, the arrows flashed like flame. As spur in side and spear in rest, against the foe we came, and many a bearded sercan went down both horse and man, for through their ranks we rode like corn, so furiously we ran. But in behind our path they closed, through fain to let us through. For they were 40,000 men, and we were wondrous few. We were not to see a lance's length, so dense was their array, but the long fell sweep of the Scottish blade still held them hard at bay. Make in, Lord Douglas cried, make in, my brother dear. Sir William of St. Clair is down. He may not leave him here, we may not leave him here. But thicker grew the swarm, the sharper shot the rain, and the horses reared amid the press, but they would not charge again. Now, Jessie, help thee, said Lord James. Thou kind and true St. Clair, and if I may not bring thee off, I'll die beside thee there. Then in the stirrup up he stood, so lion-like and bold, and held the precious heart aloft, all in its case of gold. What? He flung it from him far ahead, and never spake he more. But please thee first, thou dauntless heart, as thou wert wont of yore. The roar of fight rose fiercer yet, and heavier still the store, till the spears and Spain came shivering in and swept away the moor. Oh, someone folded it. Now praised by God, the day is won. They flew o'er the flood and fell. Why dost thou draw the rein so hard, good knight, that fought so well? O ride ye on, Lord King, he said, and leave the dead to me, for I must keep the dearest watch that ever I shall dree. There lies beside the master's heart the Douglas stark and grim. And woe is me, I should be here, not side by side with him. The world grows cold, my arm is old, and thin my lired hair, and all that I loved best on earth is stretched before me there. O Bothwell banks, that bloom so bright beneath the sun of May, the heaviest cloud that ever blew is bound for you this day. The king he lightened from his horse, he flung his brand away, and took the Douglas by the hand, go steady as he lay. God gives thee rest, thou valiant soul, that fought so well for Spain. I'd rather half my land were gone, so thou wert here again. We bore the good Lord James away, and the priceless heart he bore, and heavily we steered our ship towards the Scottish shore. we held our chief in Douglas Kirk, the heart in the fair Melrose, and woeful men we were that day. God grant their souls repose. From Layers of the Scottish Cavaliers by Ayrton. I seem to be pausing after each one of these, but good lord, I need a drink every time. I think I'm just about out. Thought so. There we are. So as ever, I will remind everyone here that every now and then I will very much read what you lot request, be that in the stream whilst this is happening, or from our Discord channel. There is a category for poems to read that I quite enjoy looking through. So if there is anything you particularly wish me to find, I am more than happy to do my best to acquire older works. I personally go more for the older material because it's so much more enjoyable. Thinking about it, I think this is one of the newest books I own, because he was around in, what, the 80s? That's from 1922. I think that's 1960. That's Latin. So it kind of predates everything here. That one is 1930. I'm not sure of the year for this one. But, as I say, without people doing what I'm doing, without people keeping them in libraries and trusting the general populace with them, these poetical works will die out. And I think that is utterly atrocious, as the poetry that I have heard of modern era. I have little faith that any of it will be remembered as fondly as I currently remember this. These books bring me untold joy and pain. They move my heart and force visions. They paint such vivid imagery in you. You read something that was written 5 or less years ago, and it will not have that strength. I remember not too long ago there was a little fad of slam poetry. Never have I been so very disappointed for something to be called poetry. Don't worry, I fully understand that people have their preferences and some people like that. Fair dues if you're one of them. I cannot enjoy it. Every single one that I heard was, "Oh, poor me, I'm angry." And I know that's down to the person that was writing it, or that was possibly what they were trying to convey. But the structure of it, in its own iteration, was so flawed that there was no way to read it with flow. There was no way to enjoy it other than to just read it angrily. Like, don't get me wrong, again, you can read something angrily and get the message across ever so well. But it takes skill. And I don't believe that the people that do that kind of poetry, that our generation is not able to evoke such strong emotions and tie the heart. Poetry has become way different than when it was even 50 years ago. What it was. My apologies. That is very true, yes. I mean, again, we all learn Shakespeare in school. Shakespeare didn't do anything that was happening in his day. He was the person leading the way. He made up words, and he basically just explained things. I mean, Christ, his characters are named in such a manner that you know exactly what is happening because of their name. I don't think we'll have anyone do anything to that effect for many, many years ever again. And that truly does upset me. The Battle of Otterborn. It fell about the lamb's tide when the mermen win their hay. The doughty Douglas bound him to ride into England to drive a prey. He chose the Gordons and the Graemes. With them the Lindsay light and gay, but with Jerns wad not with him ride, and they rue it to this day, and he has buried the delays of Tyne, the best of Berbershire, and 3 good towers of Redwire fells. He left them all on fire, and he marched up to Newcastle and rode it round about. Oh, where's the lord of the castle? Or what's the lady oft? But up spake proud Lord Percy then, and oh, but he spake high. I am the lord of the castle, my wife is Lady Gay. If thou art the lord of the castle, see well, it pleased me, for ere I caused the border fells, the Tyne of us shall die. He took the lang spear in his hand, showed the metal free, and for the meat of Douglas there he rode right fiercely. But oh, how pale his lady looked, frae aff the castle wa, and down before Scottish spear she saw proud Percy fa. I had we twae been upon the green, and never an eye to see, I would have had ye flesh and fell, but your sword shall go with me. Now gae ye up to Otterburn, and wait 3 days there, and wait there days 3, my apologies. And if I come not ere 3 days, and a fair night, ca ye me. What? Fightly will I come proudly. Oh wait, what? Pierce? Okay, my apologies, I was reading the wrong person in the wrong voice. Fightly will I come proud Percy said. By the might of Our Lady, there will I bide thee, said the Douglas. For the love of my troth I pledge to thee, plight thee. They lithed high on Otterbourne, upon the bent sea brown. They lithed high on Otterbourne, and threw their pavilions down. But up and spake a little page before the peep of dawn. Oh, waken ye, my good lord, for Percy hard at hand. Oh, I hae dreamed a dreamy dream beyond the Isle of Skye. I was a dead man when a fight, and I think that man was I. He belted on his good broadsword, and to the field he ran. But he forgot the helmet good, that should have kept his brain. When Percy wi' the Douglas met, aye, what he was full fain. The swaked their sword till they swaggled their swords till sere they swat, and the blood ran down like rain. Good Lord, that was hard to read. But Percy, wi' his good broadsword, that good so sharp wound, has wounded Douglas on the brow, till he fell to the ground. Then he called to his little foot page, and said, Run speedily, and fetch my ain dear sister's son, Sir Hugh Montgomery. My nephew good, the Douglas said, what reeks the death of a nay? Last night I dreamed a dreamy dream, and I ken the days thy ain. My wound is deep, I fain would sleep. Take thou the vengard of the three, and hide me by the braken brush that grows on yonder lily lie. Oh, bury me in the braken bush, beneath the bloomin' briar. Let never leavin' mortal ken that's ere the Kendall Scott lies here. He lifted up the noble lord, why the sought tears in his eye. He hid him in the braken bush, that his merry men might not see. The moon was clear, the dew drew near, the spears in flinders flew. But mony a gallant Englishman ere day the Scotsman slew. The Gordons good in English blood, they steeped their horse and shoon. The Lansley flew like fire about, till all the fray was done. The Percy and the Montgomery met, that either of other were fain. They swacked swords, and they twa swat, and aye the blood run down between. Yield thee, oh yield thee, Percy, he said, or else I vow I'll lay thee low. Whom to shall I yield? Said Earl Percy. Now that I see it must be so. Thou shalt not yield to lord nor loon, nor yet shalt thou yield to me, but yield thee to the bracken bush that grows on yonder lily lay. I will not yield to a bracken bush, nor yet will I yield to the briar but I would yield to Earl Douglas or Sir Hugh Montgomery if he were here. As soon as he knew it was Montgomery, he struck his sword point in the ground. And the Montgomery was cautious knight, and quickly took him down by the hand. Took him by the hand. I am struggling for some reason. This deed was done at Ottenborough about the breaking of the day. Earl Douglas was buried at the bracken bush, and Piercy led captive away. Sir Andrew Barton, take in your ancestors' standards eke, so close that no man may them see, and put me forth a white willow wand, as merchants use to sail the sea. But there stirred neither top nor mast. Stealthily they passed Sir Andrew by. What English churls are yonder, he said, that can so little courtesy? Now by the rood 3 years and more I have been admiral over the sea, and never an English nor Portuguese without me leave can pass this way. They called he forth his stout pins. Fetch back yon pedals now to me, I swear by the mass, you English churls shall all hang at my mainmast tree. With that pinnace it shot off, full well Lord Howard might it ken, for it struck down the Lord's foremast and killed 14 of his men. Come hither, Simon, says my lord. Look that thy word be true, thou said, for the mainmast thou shalt hang. If thou miss thy mark, 1 shilling bread. Simon was old, but his heart was bold. His ordnance he laid right low. He put in chain till 9 yards long, with other great shot less or more, and he let go his great gun shot, so well he settled it with his eye. The first sight that Sir Andrew saw, he sees his pinnace sunk in the sea. Come hither to me, James Hamilton, thou art my only sister's son. If thou wilt let my beams down fall, 600 nobles thou hast won. With that he swerved the mainmast tree. He swerved it with a nimble art. What does swerved mean? Swerved is to climbed. Swerved is climbed, okay. That makes more sense. But hoarsely with the broad arrow pierced the Hamilton through the heart, and down fell upon the deck, that with the blood did stream amain. Then every Scot cried, Well away! Alas, a comely youth is slain. All woe began was Sir Andrew then, with grief and rage his heart did swell. Go fetch me forth my armour of proof, for I will be the topmast myself. Hello, Chard. Did but want to say hi. Hope all is well. I hope your D&D goes very well. And we are reading some tremendous Scottish history. It's wonderful. Truly is. Come hither, Horsley, says my lord, and look your shaft that it goes right. Shoot a good shot in time of need, and for it thou shalt be made a knight. I'll shoot my best, quoth Horsley then. Your honour shall see, with might of main, but if I were hanged on your mainmast, I have now left but arrows twain. Sir Andrew, he did swave the tree, with right good will he swaved then. Upon his breast did Horsley hit, but the arrow bounded back again. Then Horsley spied a secret place, with perfect eye in a hidden part, upon the small shoulder of his right arm. He smote Sir Andrew to the heart. Fight on, my men, Sir Andrew says. A little I'm hurt, but yet not slain. I'll but lie down and bleed a while, and then I'll rise and fight again. Fight on, my men, Sir Andrew cries, and never flinch before the foe, and stand fast by St. Andrew's cross until you hear my whistle blow. They never heard his whistle blow, which made their hearts wax sore adread. Then Horsley said, Abandon, my lord, for well I wot Sir Andrew's dead. They boarded then his nimble ship. They boarded it with might and main. 18 score Scots alive they found. The rest were either maimed or slain. Lord Howard took sword in hand, and off he smote Sir Andrew's head. I must have left England's many a day, if thou wert alive, as thou art dead. He caused his body to be cast over the hatchboard into the sea, and about his belt 300 crowns. Whenever thou land, this will bury thee. Good Lord, he paid for his burial. 300 coin. Yeah. I must admit, with the readings of this particular book, where it does force such a particular voice, I'm not doing that intentionally, by the way, it does take quite considerable strain on me, so I won't go as long as I normally do. And I just quickly need to check one thing. One moment, please. I see a message here. Nothing to fear. We'll bury thee. Next this is Flodden. How the battle began. Next morn the Baron climbed the tower to view after the Scottish power. Encamped on flooded edge, the white pavilions made a show, like remnants of the winter snow. Along the dusky ridge, long Marmion looked. Marmion looked. At length his eye unusual movement might descry. Amid the shifting lines, the Scottish host drew out appears, for flashing on the hedge of spears, the eastern sunbeam shines. Oh, terribly sorry. Their front now depending, now extending, their flank inclining, wheeling, bending, now drawing back, and now descending. The skilful Marmion well could know they watched the motions of some foe who travelled on the plain below. Even so it was from flooded ridge the Scots beheld the English host leave Bermwood, their evening post, and heedful watched them as they crossed the Till by Twisel Bridge. High sight it is, and highly while they dive into deep defile. Beneath the carven cliff, they fall beneath the castle airy wall. By rock, by oak, by hawthorn tree, troop after troop, and disappearing troop after troop, their banners rearing. Upon the eastern bank you see, still pouring down the rocks, den where flow the sullen Till, and rising from the dim wood glen, standards of standards, men on men, in slow succession still, and sweeping o'er the Gothic arch, and pressing on in ceaseless march, to gain the opposing hill. And why stands Scotland idly now, dark Flodden, on the airy brow, since England gains the pass the while, and struggles through the deep defile? What checks the fierce soul of James? Why sits the champion of the dames inactive on his steed, and sees between him and his land, between him and Tweed Southern stand, his host Lord Surrey lead? What vials the vile knight Erin's brand? O Douglas, for thy leading wand, fierce Randolph, for thy speed, oh, for 1 hour of Wallace White, or well-skilled Bruce, to rule the fight, and cry Saint Andrew and our right. Another sight made seen that morn, from fate's dark book a leaf been torn, and Flodden had been Benachpen. The precious hour has passion in vain, and England's host has gained the plain, wheeling their march and circling still around the base of Flodden Hill. But see, look up! On Flodden bent, the Scottish foe has fired his tent. Nor material shout, nor minstrel tone announced their march, their tread alone, at times one wanting trumpet blown, at times a stiffened hum, told England from this mountain throne King James did rush and come. Scarce could they hear or see their foes until a weapon point they close. They close in the clouds and smoke and dust, with sword sway and with lance thrust. And such a yell was there, all life and death, when in the shout, recoil and rely, charge and rout, rally, my apologies, and triumph and despair, at length the freshening, western blast aside the shout of battle cast, and first the ridge mangled spears above the brightening cloud appears, and in the smoke the pennons flow, as in the storm the white sea mew. Then marked they, dashing broad and far, the broken billows of the war, and plumed crest of chieftains brave, floating like foam upon the wave, but naught destructed they see, wide, ragged, and battle on the plain. Spears shook, and falcons flashed at mar. Fell England's arrow flight like rain. Crest rose, and stooped, and rose again, wild and disorderly. Whew. This is the kind of stuff that you genuinely need to take a break after reading each one. Shift these to the side a touch. What time is it? 10:51. Good lord, it feels like I've been going for ages. We might actually finish this book. But as they left the darkening this is the last stand I forgot to say. But as they left the darkening breath, more desperate grew the strife of death. The English shafts in volleys hailed, in headlong courage their horse assailed. Front, flank, and rear, the squadrons sweep, to break the Scottish circle deep. The fort armoured their king, but yet, though thick the shafts as snow, through charging knights like whirlwind go. Through Bilmy play the ghastly blow, unbroken was the ring. These stubborn spearmen still made good their dark impenetrable wood, each stepping where his comrade stood. The instant that he fell, no thought was there of dastard flight. Linked in this arrayment, phalanx tight, groom and fought like noble squire, like knight, as fearless and well, till utter darkness closed their wing o'er the thin host of wondered king. Then skilful Surrey sage commands, led back from the strife his shattered bands, and from the charge they drew as mountain waves from wasted lands sweep back to ocean blue. They did their loss, his foreman know. The king their lords, their mightiest, lo, they melted from the field as snow. When streams are swollen and south winds blow, dissolves in silent dew. Tweed's echoes heard, the ceaseless plash, while many a broken band, disordered through the current dash, to gain the Scottish land, to town and tower, to down and dale, to tell red Flodden's dismal tale, and rise the universal wail. Tradition, legend, tune, and song shall many an age that wail prolong. Still from the sire the son shall hear of the stern strife and carnage drear, of Flodden's fatal field, where shivered was far Scotson's spear, and broken was her shield. From Marmion, by Sir Walter Scott once more. I do enjoy his work. I am going to take a very brief break. Get myself some more fluids, most likely another cup of tea, and I recommend you all do the same, and I will see you shortly. Hello, hello, I have returned. I wonder how hard is that closed caption working? Especially with all of this going on. I did indeed get myself some mint tea. It's actually really nice. Twinings as ever. And as I say, I think there is a good chance that we'll finish this one today. I will then finish the stream once we do, though. Yeah, we can do that. The CC is delayed, is it? Ah, so it is, yes. Very interesting. Well played, my friend, well played. I was not tried anything since you've come back. Really? I see what you mean, actually. One moment. Let me check my end. My end is trying to do it, but it's doing very badly. Well, we'll see how things go, shall we? Pause that again. That's actually really nice music. But for this particular stream, when I am reading, I have no music going. Now we'd finished this one, so we're on to Edinburgh after Flodden. News of battle, news of battle. Hark, 'tis ringing down the street, and the archways of the pavement bear the clang of hurrying feet. News of battle, who hath brought it? News of triumph, who should bring tidings from our noble army? Greetings from our gallant king. All last night we watched the beacons blazing on the hills afar, each one bearing, as it kindled, message of the opened war. All night long, northern streams shot across the trembling sky, fearful lights that never beacon save when king or hero dies. Die. News of battle, who hath brought it? All are thronging to the gate. Warder, open quickly. Man is on time to wait. Man is a time to wait. And the heavy gates are opened, then murmur long and loud, and a cry of fear and wonder bursts from the bending crowd, for they see in battered harness, only one hard-sticken man, and his weary steed is wounded, and his cheek is pale and wan. Spearless hangs a bloody banner in the wake of dropping hand. God, can that be Randolph Murray, captain of the city band? I actually know this one, by the way, it's really nice. Round him crush the people, crying, "Tell us all, oh, tell us true. Where are you? Where are they who went to battle, Randolph Murray, sworn to you? Where are they, our brothers, our children? Have they met the English foe? Why art thou alone, unfollowed? Is it weal or is it woe? Like the corpse of a grisly warrior, look from out his helm of steel, but no word he speaks in answer, only with his armed heel chides his weary steed onwards. Up the city streets they ride, fathers, sisters, mothers, children, shrieking, praying by his side. By the God that made thee, Randolph, tell us the mischief hath come. Then he lifts his riven banner, and the asker's voice is dumb. The elders of the city have met within their hall, the men whom good King James had charged to watch the tower and the wall. Your hands are weak with age, he said, your hearts are strong and true, so bide ye in the maiden town, while others fight for you. My trumpet from the border side shall send a blast so clear that all who wait within the gate that stirring around may hear. Or if it be the will of heaven that back I never come, and if instead of Scottish shouts ye hear English drum, then let the warning bells ring out, the gird you in the fray, and may the walls like bergs stout, and fight while fight ye may. 'Twere better that in fairy flame the roofs should thunder down, than that the foot of a foreign foe should trample in the town. Then in came Rudolph Murray, his step was slow and weak, and he doffed his dinted helm, and tears ran down his cheek. They fell upon the corselet, and on his mailed hand. As he gazed around him wistfully, leaning sorely on his brand, and none who then beheld him, but stood, were smote with fear. For a bolder and a sterner man had never couched despair. They knew so sad a message some ghastly news must bring, and all of them were fathers, and their sons were with the king. And up then rose the provost, a brave old man was he, of ancient name and knightly fame, a chivalrous degree. He ruled the city like a lord, who brooked no equal here, and for the townsmen's rights stood up gainst prince and peer. And he had seen the Scottish host march from the Barrow Mere, with music storm and clamorous shout, and all in the din thunders out, when youths of victory sure. But yet a dearer thought had he, for with the father's pride he saw his last remaining son go forth by Rudolph's side, with casque on hand and spur on heel, all keen to do and dare, and proudly did that gallant boy Dundin's banner bear. Oh, full now was the old man's look, and spake right heavily. Now, Randolphs, tell thy tidings, however sharp they be. Woe is written on thy visage, death is looking from thy face. Spake through, it be of overflow, it cannot be disgrace. Many thanks for that follow, Alice. I appreciate that. Right bitter was the agony that wrung that soldier proud. Thrice did he strive to answer, and thrice he groaned aloud. Then he gave the riven banner to the old man's shaking hand, saying, "That is all I bring ye from the bravest of the land. Aye, ye may look upon it. It was guarded well and long by your brothers and your children, by the valiant and the strong. One by one they fell around it, as the archers laid them down, grimly dying still, unconquered, with their face to the foe. Aye, ye well may look upon it. There is more than honour there. Else be sure I had not brought it from the field the dark despair. Never yet was royal banner stepped in such costly dye. Steeped. It hath lain upon the bosom where no other shroud shall lie. Sires, I charge ye, keep it holy. Keep it a sacred thing, for the stain ye see upon it was the lifeblood of ye king. Thou needest not tell it, he is dead. God help us all this day. But speak, how fought the citizens within the furious fray? For by the mighty of Mary, 'twere something still to tell that no Scottish foot went backwards when royal Lion fell. None failed him. He's keeping the royal state and semblance still. Knight and noble lie around him, and cold on Flodden's fatal hill. Of the brave and the gallant-hearted, whom ye sent with prayers away, not a single man departed from his monarch yesterday. Had ye seen them, oh, my master, when the night began to fall, and the English spearmen gathered round the grim and ghastly wall, as the wolves in winter circle round the legion on the earth. So the greedy foe glared upward, panted still for blood and death, but rampant rose before them, which the boldest dared not scale. Every stone a Scottish body, every step a corpse in mail, and behold it lay on monarch, clenched still his shivered sword, and by his side Montairs and Athol, at his feet Southern lord. All so thick they lay together, when the stars lit up the sky, that I knew not who were stricken, or who yet remained to die. For there when Sarid halted, and his wearied host withdrew, none but dying men around me, when the English trumpet blew. Then I stepped and took the banner, as ye see it from the breast, and I closed our hero's eyelids, and I left him to rest. From Edinburgh after Flodden. by Aeton. I have read this one before, and it hit me significantly harder then, but it was fantastic to read. It's just the pure pride you feel in it is glorious. I mean, Christ, I'm not English, and I'm still proud of them for doing it. I will always respect people that are proud of what they fight for, because that is the reason they were there. Fundamentally, they were fighting for their land, they were fighting for their king. And there is no greater honour for a warrior than to die by the side of his king in glorious battle. And I am not trying to say that battle is glorious, but that is the way that warriors opted to go. They would much rather die in battle than grow old, for it was the warrior's way. The flowers on the forest. I've heard them lilting at the ewe milking, laces lifting before the dawn our day. But now they are mourning on the isle green lawning. The flowers o'er the forest are wade away. At butches in the morning, nae blithered lads a scorning. Lasses and lonely and doughy and way, nae deafin, nae gabbling, but sighing and sobbing, aye and ifts her legling, and hies her away in hairst at the shearing nae youths now are jeering. Bansters are unkled and light or grey. At fair or at preaching nae woon nae fleeching. The flowers o' the forest are wade away. At e'en of the gloaming nae yonkers are roaming, bout stacks wi' the lasels at bogle to play. My word! But Ike maid sits dreary lamenting her dear. The flowers of the forest are waded away. Dool and way, for the order sent our lads to the border. The English for ants beguiling when the day, the flowers of the forest that fought aye the foremost, the primer of the land, are cold in the clay. We'll hear nae male lifting at the owl milking, women and bairns are heartless and way, sign in the morning and ilk green lawning. The flowers o' the forest are wade away. And that was by Jean Elliott. And that's loosely more of the effect of... one moment, please. I'm not getting any good sneezes today. It's really annoying. It's like a half-hearted one. I feel cheated out of each and every one. But yes, that basically just roughly translates to they're running low on men, they're missing their men, their teenagers. They have women, they have girls, and that's it. There's no sounds of play, there's no sounds of anyone putting on chainmail, there's no one training. There are just women. They are milking the cows, they are weeding in the forest. And generally, when a woman went to the forest, there were only realistically two reasons. One was to be alone with her sorrows, because it was unseemly to mourn in public, and the other one was to be with her love, so to speak, so she would no longer be of this earth, and she would stay a while with the flowers. One moment, I am going to attempt something. Click this off on. That should be better. And hopefully that will continue. The Lament of the Border Widow. My love, he built me a bonny bower, and clad it a way lily flower, a brewer bower ye ne'er did see, than my true love for he built for me. There came a man by middle day, he sipped his swat and went away, and brought the king that very night, who brake my bower and slew my knight. He slew my knight to me see dear, he slew my knight and pined this gear. My servants I for life did flee, and left me an exterminate. I'm not sure on that word. I sued his sheets making my mean. I watched the corpse myself alane. I watched his body night and day. Nae living creature can that way. I took his body on my back, and whiles I gaed, and whiles I sat, I diggin grave and laid him in, and happened him wi' the sod sae green. But thank ye, my heart was sair, when I laid the mole on the yellow hair. And think ye, my heart was wae, when I turned about away to gae. Nae leaving man I'll love again, since that my lonely knight was slain. Wi' a look o' his yellow hair, I'll chain my heart for evermore. Hello, Glenn. Raiding with a party of one. How did your stream go? I do hope it wasn't that low throughout, for your sake. And my dear, if you do wish to shout him out, be more than welcome. We're currently slightly over halfway through our Scottish ballads. Guide to... Oh dear. Is that due to the stream or due to the... I'm getting confused now. Was that game or other? In a good way. Oh, thank goodness. I was worrying for a while. I must admit, though, this is very much pulling on those kind of strings for me. To anyone that doesn't already, I do recommend you follow our friend Glenn here. He does very nice playthroughs. He's recently been playing Venheim, does a fair amount of War Thunder, and recently was doing some photography editing, which I find quite interesting personally. So I do highly recommend you give him a look, at least consider. Got my first donations. I've got donated €30 today. Oh, very cool. I must admit, it is a fantastic moment when you do get your first donations. I mean, you can still see the little ticker up at the top there that's going through the people that it gives to me. And as ever, you'll always thank everyone that does that kind of stuff. Hello, Flad, how on earth are you? It's more of a case that they're doing it purely to go, hey, I like what you're doing, keep it up. And to get that as a streamer is a wonderful thing. Flad, you're actually British as well, aren't you? We are currently reading a fantastic amount of Scottish poems. Wrapped up in the evening and thought I'd drop by. Evening, mate, it's night time and you know it. I am, yes, half Scottish and half English by blood. Oh, lovely. I wouldn't have guessed that by your voice or your stature. Absolutely, thank them so much. They begged me to stop. Alright, I like that, that's good. So you'll actually, Flad, know these better than I will. Because these are obviously incredibly old, but they're talking about the battles between the English and the Scottish. And it hurts. Oh, it hurts. And I am very much reading it as it's written. It's forcing me into an accent. I'm not trying to do it. Terrible at English literature and history. I mean, that's fair enough. So this one is named Johnny Armstrong. Some spake of lords, some spake of lairds, and sick, like men of high degree, of a gentleman I sing and sang, sometime called Laird of Gilnackie. The king he writes a lovely letter, with his ain hand, sae tenderly, and he hath sent it to Johnny Armstrong, to come and spake with him speedily. Make Keenan and Copen ready then, and venison in great plenty will welcome here our royal king. I hope he'll dine at Glenichan. They ran their horse on the Longhorn home, and brake their spears wi' Meckin main, their ladies' locket frae their loft windows. God bring our men we'll hame again. When Johnny came before the king, why aye his man sae brave to see, the king he moved his bonnet to him, he weened he was king as weel as he. May I find grace, my sovereign liege, grace for my loyal men and me. For my name is Johnny Armstrong, and the subject of yours, my liege, said he. Oh, let's continue, sweet. Away, away, thou traitor Strang, out o' my sight soon mayst thou be. I granded never a traitor's life, and now I'll not begin with thee. Grant me my life, my liege, my king, and a bonny gift I'll gie to thee. Full 24 milk-white steeds, where I fold in ire to me. I'll give these milk-white steeds, that prance and neigh at a spear, and they make a guide English gilt, as for o' their bread box thou bear. Away, away, thou traitor Strang, Out o' my sight, soon mayst thou be. I granted never a traitor's life, and now I'll not begin with thee. Grant me my life, my liege, my king, and a bonny gift I'll give to thee. Guide 24 gangling mills that gang through a year to me. Those 24 mills complete shall gang for thee through the year, and make the guide red wheat, as aye there happens thou to bear. Away, away, traitor strang, out of my sight, soon mayst thou be. I granted never a traitor's life, and now I'll not begin with thee. Grant me my life, my liege, my king, and a grand gift I gave to thee. Biled 24 sisters' sons shall be thee fact. Through a should flee. Away, away, traitor strang, out of my sight mayst thou be. I granted never a traitor life, and now I'll not begin with thee. Grant me my life, my liege, my king, and a brave gift I'll give thee. All between here and Newcastle town shall pay their yearly rent to thee. Away, away, thou traitor strang, out of my sight mayst thou be. Excuse me. I granted never a traitor's life, and now I'll not begin with thee. Ye lied now, king, he says, although a king and prince ye be, for I have loved neither in my life. I will dare say it, but honestly, to seek het water beneath cold ice, surely it is great folly. I have asked grace and graceless face, but there is nane for my man and me. But had I kenned ere I came free hame, how thou unkind wast been to me, I would he keep the board aside, in spite of all the force, and they. There hing 9 targets at Johnny's hat, and I an worth £300. What wants that knave, that king should have, but the sword of honour and the crown? Oh, where got thou these targets, Johnny, that blink sabre upon thy brow? I get them in the field, fetching where the cruel king thou dost not be. Had I my horse and harness good, and riding as I want to be, it shouldn't have been toward this 100 year, the meeting of the king and me. God be with thee, Christy, my son, where thou sits on thy nurse's knee. But an thou live this 100 year, thy father better thou'lt never be. What in the name of... So he's a traitor, but he's okay with being a traitor because he never really respected him anyway. How bizarre. Oh, I would absolutely read them, yes. Like, without hesitation. I do plan to read epics on here at some point. Like, just to my side, I've got 2 variants of... I've got Homer Odyssey, and then, the Iliad Homer, which is, proper thick. Was my favourite poet growing up. I had so many books. Lovely. So in time, obviously, when I have a an income from this to cover the expense, I would intend to open a P.O. box. And any poetical works that you lot would send there, I would without hesitation read. Obviously, where I do the model making on Wednesdays, send me models and they shall be built. If you have particular instruction for them, then I would happily do that as well. I reckon that would be tremendous good fun. I don't know what happened there. I do apologise though, and yes, posture check is a very good idea. I think I briefly forgot how to drink, which is atrocious. Let's shift you a touch. Jamie Telfer, or the fair Dodhead. It fell about the Martin side, when the border steeds got corn and hay. The captain of Bowcastle hath bound him to ride, and he's o'er the Tevindale to drive a prey. And when they came to their fair Dodhead, rotly hostile, they climbed the pale, they loosed the key, out one an a, and ransacked the house right well. Now Jenny Telfer's heart was sair, the tear rollin' in his eye. He played with the captain and his gear, or else revenged he would be. Captain turned round and Loch said, "Man, that's nanthin in my house, but I hold a sword without a sheath that hardly knew would fell a mouse. The sun wasn't up, but the moon was down. It was the craning of the new fawn snow. Jemmy Talfon was run 10 mile afoot between Dodhead and Storb's Ha, and when he came to the fair town yet, he should loud and cry wail high, till out spake aloud Gibbie Elliot. What's this that brings thy fray to me? It's I, Jimmy Telfer, o' the fair Dodhead, and harried man I think I be. There's Nathan left for me. There's Nathan left in the fair Dodhead, but wife and bairnies three. Glee seek your socher at Branksmore, for socher yes, get nane from me. Guy seek your socher where ye paid blackmail for men. Ye ne'er paid money to me. Jamie has turned him round about. I what the tear blind in his eye. I'll ne'er pay mail to an Elliott's again, and the fair Dodhead I'll never see. My hounds may go a wren mustless, my hawks may fly free tree to tree, my lord may grip my vessel lands, for there again may I never be. And when he came, the Catslakill, he shouted loud and cried whale high, till out and spake him William Watt. Oh, what's this brings the fray to me? He set his twa sons and coal black steeds himsel, o' the freckled grey, and they are on wi' Jamie Tailful to Braxton. He ha to take a fray. Alack for way, quoth the guide aloud, Lord. And ever my heart is woe for thee. But fie, gae cry on Willie, my son, and see that he come from the Speedy. Gae warm the water, braid the wide, gae warm in soon and hassle. Then they that win ride the Tailful sky, let them never look on the face o' me. One what o' Harden and his sons, we them will Bothwick water ride. I promise I am doing my best. This is incredibly hard to read. One Godlands and Alainhan and Gillensgley and common side, the Scots they ride, they Scots and ran, say starkly and see steadily, and I the odd word o' thrang was, rise for Braxham Riedel. The gear was driving, the frost lay up, fry and frost lay unto the plain, when Wiley has looked his men before, and saw his kye right fast driven. Set on them, lads, quo Willie then. Fie, lads, set on them cruelly. For aye they came to the rich ford, many a tomb, saddle there shall be. Then tilt they God wi' heart and hand. The blows fell thick as bracken hail, and mony a horse ran masterless, and mony a common cheek was pale. But Willie was stricken o'er the head and through the kneecaps. The sword has gane, and Harden a grat, for very rage, when Willie on the ground lay slain. But he's ta'en off his guard steel cap, and thrice he's waved in the air. The Denny snows were ne'er mair white than the light locks o' Harden's hair. Oh, that wouldn't hurt. Wait, we're not quite finished with that, are we? No, we're not. Revenge. No, that is a different one. That has to be a different one. Yeah. Yeah, that's a different one. Alright. That one hurt. Lament of Mary, Queen of Scotland. And that is folded over. I hate it when people fold books. Just use a thin piece of paper, as I have done time and time again. Like, there's one. Look. Paper is a bookmark. Perfect. Doesn't hurt it. Folding the book does. And if you fold any of my books, I will be very unhappy with you. I don't care who you are. If you fold one of my books, I will never lend you another. Anyway, Lament of Queen Mary Scots. Revenge, revenge, auld what gair cry. Fie, lads, lay on them cruelly, while ne'erst traversed again, or will his death revenged shall be. Oh, mony a horse ran masterless, and the spirited lances flew on high, but o'er they won on the Corshop ford. The Scots had gotten their victory. Sounds offended, I would never. Good. You may read some of my books then. Oh, this is... Oh, that was... bollocks. Yes, you may read. That is very true. We're into the last third? Yeah, that's third. We will definitely finish this today. Lament of Mary, Queen of Scots. I apologise for that part that I said was Lament, Queen of Scots, but it's not. Now nature hangs her mortal green on every blooming tree, and spreads her sheets o'er desires white out o'er the grassy lay. Now Phoebus, how bizarre, cheers the crystal streams, and glides the azure skies. But naught can glad the weary weight that fast in endurance lies. Now leave rocks, wake the merry morn, aloft on dewy wings. The merle in the noon-tide bower make woodland echoes ring. The marvellous smiled with merry a note sings drowsy day to rest. In love the freedom they rejoice, we care not that they'll oppressed. New blooms they lily by the bank, the primrose down the brae, the hawthorn's building in the glen, and milk-white is the sleigh. The meanest hind in fair Scotland, may rove their sweets among, but I, the Queen o' Scotland, may lie in prison strang. I was the Queen o' bonny France, where happy I ha' been. For lightly rise I in the morn, as blithe lie down at e'en. And I'm the sovereign o' Scotland, and many a traitor there. Yet here I lie in foreign bands, and never end in care. Oh, soon to me, my summer suns, nae mair light upon the morn, nae mair to me, and autumn winds wave o'er the yellow corn. And the narrow house of death let winter round my rave, and the next flowers the deck and spring bloom on thy peaceful grave. Oh, well, maybe now I don't want to. How dare you? You want to. I know you want to. You can't even pretend not to want to. You're enjoying this too much. Clement Willie. Oh, have ye nae heard o the force snackled? Oh, have ye nae heard of the Keen Lord Scoops? How they had ta'en build came. Oh, my word. Yes, I know that's not the point, but it's still amusing, my dear. I love you. Let's try that entire section again. Oh, have ye na heard o the fosse scaled? Oh, have ye na heard o the Keen Lord Scoop? How have ye ta'en build Clement Willie? Oh, here be to hang him up. Had Willie had the 20 men, but 20 men as stout as he, forsaked, had never the Kimont ta'en wi' 8 score in his company. They bend his legs beneath the steed, they tied his hands beneath his back, and they guarded him, 5 some on each side, and they brought him o'er the little rack. They led him through the little rack, and also through the Kersal sands. They brought him to Kersal Castle. Carlisle, my apologies, Carlisle Sands. They brought him to Carlisle Castle, to be at my Lord Scoop's commands. My hands are tied, but my tongue is free, and who'll dare this deed avow, or answer by the border law, or answer by to the bold buckler. Now hold thy tongue, thou rank revere. There's never a Scot shall set thee free before ye cross the castle yet. I trow ye shall take farewell o' me. Fear na ye that, my lord, quo Willie. By the faith o' my body, Lord Scoop, he said, I never yet lodged in a hostiler, but I paid my lawing before I gaed. Now word is gone to the bald keeper in Branksome, where that he lay, the Lord Scoop had taken to the Clement Willie between the hours of night and day. He has ta'en the table with his hand, and guard the red wine spring on he. Now the curse be on my head, he said, but avenged of Lord Scopel I'll be. What? Oh, is my besant a widow's church, or my lance a wand o'er the willow tree, or my arm a lady's lily hand, that's an English lord should lightly me? And have they ta'en him, Clement Willie, against the trace of border tide, and forgotten that the bold buckle is keep here in the Scottish side? He was called him 40 Marchman bald, where Kimson to the bald Bauld. I hate that word. Bachlech, with spur on heel, the splint on squad, and gloves of green and feathers blue, and was the crest of the bettable land, when the English side we held the first o' men that we met we. Why should it be but forsacred? Where are ye going, ye mason lad? Why are ye laden lang and high? We gang to Harry and Corby's nest, that warns not for the Woodhausen. There be going, ye breaking men, co forsacred, come tell to me. New Dicky of Dry Hope led that band, and never of word of and the never a word of lair had he. Why trespass ye on English side, raw-footed outlaws? Stand, quo he. The never a word had Dicky to say. Say he thrust his lance through his foe's body. My word. Then on we hailed for Carlisle town, and the Staneshaw bank of Erin we crossed. The water was great, and miracle of speed. But the never a horse, no man we lost, and when we left the Sternhoe bank, the wind began full aloud to blow, but 'twas mind and wheat, and fire and sleet, when we came beneath the castle where he kept on knees and held our breath, till we placed ladders against the wall. And sae ready was Bachlech himself to mount the first before us all. He had taken the watchman by the throat and flung him down upon the lead. Had there not been a pace between our lands, upon other side thou hadst God. Now sound our trumpets, Co Bachlan. Let's waken Lord Scoop right merrily. Then loud and Warden's trumpet blew. Oh, wha dame middle wha me. Then speedily to work we gaed, and raised the slough, and knob, and a cut hole through sheet of land, and so we won the castle high. They threw King James and his men had won the house with bow and spear. It was but 20 Scots, and 10 had but 1,000 in sec a steer. We coulters, and we forehammers, we guard the bars bang merrily, until we came the inner prison. There Willie o' commit he did lie. Then Red Rowan hent him up the staircase, men in Tevendale, a dire now, Red Rowan, till off my lord Scoop I take farewell. Farewell, my guide, Lord Scroop. My guide, Lord Scoop, farewell, he cried. I'll pay you for lodging mail when first we meet on the board side. Border side, my apologies. Then shoulder high, with shout and cry, we bore him down the ladder lang. At every stride Red Rowan made, I what the Commons airs plain clang. Oh, money a time, quo Kemot Willie, I have ridden horse bay the wild and wood, but a rougher beast than Red Rowan I when my legs have never bestrode. We scarce had wen and Stanhope ball. We scarce had wen and Stanhope bank when the Carlisle bells were rung, and thousands men on horses and foot came with the keen Lord's troops. My apologies there. Good Lord, I do apologize. I'm gonna have to get myself something to eat after this, I reckon. Scroops along. Vaclin his turned to Eden water, even when it flowed free bank to brim, and he his plague in way his band, and safely swung them through the stream. He turned him on the other side, and as Lord Scroope his glove flung he. If ye like na my visit in merry England, in fair Scotland visit me. That's actually rather amusing, I like that. And that was the last of that one. Yeah, we'll be okay, I reckon. Although it suddenly got late. The Battle of Fellenhigh. Fellenhigh? On Fellenhigh a fray began, at Harold Wood it ended. The Scots out o'er the Graemes they ran, see merrily they bended. Sir David Frey the board came, wi' heart and hand came he, wi' him their 1,000 bonny Scots to bear him company. When they came to Langley Burn, as daylight did appear, they spied an aged father, and he did draw them near. Come hither, aged father, Sir David he did cry, and tell me where Montereyes lies, and lies with all his great army. If you, Sir David Leslie, as I think while ye be, I'm sorry ye here brought so few into your company. There's 15,000 armed men encamped on yonder lea. You'll never be a bite to them, for aught that I can see. But have your men in equal parts your purpose to fulfill. Let all half keep the water side, the rest gae round the hill. You neither party fire must, they beat a flying drum, and then they'll think the devs their reign, and frae the trench they'll come. Then those that are behind the Mon Guy, shot beard grit and sma, and so between your armies twa, ye may make them to fay. 3 hours later. What? What do you mean 3 hours later? If ye will land these men aright, reward shall ye be. But if that ye traitor prove, I'll hang thee on a tree. He halved his men, and in equal parts his purpose to fulfill. The one part kept the waterside, the other gate round the hill. The neither party fired brisk, then turned and seemed to rin, and then and then they came frae the trench and cried, "The days are rain." The rest then ran into the trench and loosed their cannons. Aye, and thus between his armies 'twas made them fast to fare. Yeah, there it is. Oh, suddenly get late. Oh, yes. I mean, it did. I glanced at the clock and it wasn't even that late. And then it was. The execution of Montrese. Come hither, even Cameron, and stand beside my knee. I hear the river roaring down towards the winter sea. There's shouting on the mountain side. There's war within the blast. Old faces look upon me. Old forms go trooping past. I've told thee how we swept Dundee and tamed the Landsley pride, but never have I told thee yet how the great Marquis died. They brought him to the Watergate, hard bound with Hampton, Spain, as though they held a lion there, and the fenceless man they sat him high upon the cart. The hangman rode below. They drew his hands behind his back, and bared his noble brow. It would have made a brave man's heart grow sad and sick that day, to watch the keen Milligant's eyes bent down on the array. But when he came through pale and wan, he looked so great and high, so noble was his manly, so calm his steadfast eye, the rabble rout forbore to shout, and each man held his breath. Full well they knew the hero's soul was face to face with death. Had I been there, with sword in hand and 50 Camerons by, that day through high Dundin streets had paled the slogan cry. Not all their troops of trembling horse, nor mighty of mailed men. Not all the rebels of the south had borne us backwards then. It might not be they placed him next within a solemn hall, where once a Scottish king were throned amidst their nobles all. With savage glee came Warren Stone to read the murderous doom, and then uprose the great Marquis in the middle of the room. There is a chamber far away where sleep and good and brave, but a better place ye have named for me than by my father's grave. For truth, the right's giant's treasures might this hand has always strived, and ye rise it up, a witness still, in the eye of earth and heaven. Then nail my head to yonder tower. Give even a town a limb, give every town a limb, and God who made shall gather them. I go from you to him. Okay, I'll take a drink. Lovely. Running low on that. The morning dawned. Full darkly the rain came flashing down, and jagged streak of the Leven bolt lit up the gloomy town. The heavens were thundering out their wrath. The fatal hour was come, yet every sounded sullenly, the trumpet and the drum. There was madness on the earth below, and anger in the sky. And young and old, and rich and poor, came forth to see him die. He mounted up the scaffolding, and he turned him to the crowd. But they dared not trust the people, so he might not speak aloud. But he looked upon the heavens, and they were clear and blue, and in the liquid ether, the eye of God shone through. The beam of light fell o'er him like glory round the shriven, and he climbed the lofty ladder, as he were the path to heaven. There came a flash from out the cloud, and stunning thunder roll, and no man dared to look aloft, for fear was on every soul. There was another heavy sound, a hush, and then a groan. The darkness swept across the sky, for work of death was done. Oh, I like that. That's very nice. We might be able to finish this in an hour. Yeah, I reckon. The Campalian's dream. In a dream of the night, I was wafted away to the merry land of mist, where the Merthes lay, where Cameron's sword and his Bible are seen, engraved on the stone where the heather grows green. 'Twas the dream those ages of darkness and blood. Then the minister's home was the mountain and wood, when the willow wood's dark valley, the standard of Zion, and bloody and torn, 'mong the healthy was lying. 'Twas morning, and summer young sun from the east lay in loving repose on the green mountain's breast. On Wardlaw the Carnbile, the clear shining dew, glistened a sheen 'mong the health bells and mountain flowers blue. And far in the heavens, near the white sunny cloud, the song of the lark was melodious and loud, and in the glimmer wild solitude, lengthened and deep, were the whistling of plovers and bleating of sheep. And wellward sweet valleys breathed music and gladness. The fresh meadows blooming hung in beauty and readiness. Its daughters were happy to hail the return and drink the delights of July's sweet morning. But oh, there were hearts cherished Far other feelings, illuminated by the light of prophetic revealings, who drank from the scenery of beauty but sorrow, for they knew not their blood would be due to it tomorrow. 'Twas the few faithful ones with Cameron were lying, consoled 'mong the mist, where the heath fowl were crying, for the horseman Earl Shall around them were hovering, and their bride reins rang through the thin misty covering. Their faces grew pale and their swords were unsheathed, but the vengeance that darkened their brow was unbetrothed. With eyes turned to heaven in calm resignation, they sang their last song to God on salvation. The hills with deep mouthful music were ringing. The curlew and plover in concert were singing, but the melody died mid derision and laughter, as the host of ungodly rushed on the slaughter. Though in the mist and in darkness and fire they were shrouded, yet their souls, the righteous, were calm and unclouded. Their dark eyes flashed lightning, as firm and unbinding they stood like a rock, with their thunder is rendering. The muskets were flashing, and blue swords were gleaming, their helmets cleft, and their red blood was streaming, and their heavens grew dark, and thunder was rolling. With the Wilwood's dark Merland, the mighty were falling. Oh no, this is incredibly Scottish, and the way it's written, it forces you to read that way. But yes, I cannot help it but finish this one. Nope, that was the end of that one. No? Yes. Continue. When the righteous had fallen and the combat was ended, and a chariot of fire through the dark cloud descended, its drivers with angles of horses of whiteness, and its burning wheels turned on axles of brightness. A seraph unfolded its doors bright and shining, all dazzling like gold and seventh refining, and the soul that came forth of great tribulation have mounted the chariot and steed of salvation. On the arc of the rainbow the chariot is gliding through the path of the thunder, and the horsemen are riding. Glide swiftly, bright spirits, the prize is before ye, a crown never faded, a kingdom of glory. Alright, that last part really hurt my throat, apparently. I know you did, don't worry. We've only got a little bit left to go, to be fair. Whew. Not sure I can do it all in 40 minutes, though. But we shall try. A battle of Killiecrankie. On the heights of Killiecrankie, yester morn, our army lay, slowly arose the mist and columns, from the rivers broken away, hoarsely roared the swollen torrent, and the pass was wrapped in gloom. when the clansmen rose together from their amidst the bloom. Then we belted on our tarrants, and our bonnets down we drew, and we felt our broadswords' edge, and we proved them to be true. And we prayed and prayer of soldiers, and we cried the gathering cry. Sleep well, Phil. I hope you do sleep very, very nicely. You do deserve it. And we clasped the hands of kinsmen, and we swore to do or die. Then our leader rode before us, on his war horse black as night. Well, the Cairn and the rebels knew the charge in the fight, and he raised his hand for silence. Soldiers, I have sworn a vow, ere the evening star shall glisten o'er Shinlin's lofty brow, either we shall rest in triumph, or another of the Graemes shall have died in battle harness for his country and King James. Strike, and drive the trembling rebels backwards o'er the stormy Forth. Let them tell the pale Convention how they fared with the North. Let them tell the Highland honour his not to be bought or sold, that we scorn the prince's anger, as we loathe his foreign gold. Strike, and when the fight is o'er, if you look in vain for me, where the dead are lying thickest, search for him that was Dundee. Soon the hard challenge trumpet sounded in the pass below, and the distant tramp of horses and the voices of the foe. Down we crouched amid the bracken, till the lowland ranks drew near, panting like the hounds in summer, when they scent the startling deer from the dark defile emerging. Next we saw a squadron come, Leslie foot and Levin's troops, marching to the tuck of drum, through scattered wood of birches, o'er the broken ground of hearth. Wound and long battalions slowly, till they gained their field beneath. Then we bound from our covert. Judge how looked the Saxon then, when they saw the rugged mountain start to life with armed men. Like a tempest down the ridges swept the hurricane of steel, Rose and Slogan and MacDonald, M-A-C, not to be copyright, flashed the broadsword of Lachel, vainly sped and withered volley mongst the foremost of our band. On we poured until we met them, foot to foot and hand to hand. Horse and men went down like driftwood when the floods of Plack at Youghal, and there the caresses are whirling in the Kerry's deepest pool. Horse and man went down before us, leaving foe their tired none. On the field of Kilachlan, when the stubborn fight was done, and the evening star was shining on Shallan's distant head, where we wiped our bloody broadswords and returned to count the dead. There we found him gashed in glory, stretched upon a cumbered plan. As he told us where to seek him, in the thickest of the slain, and the smile was on his visage, for within his dying ear paled the joyful note of triumph, and the clansmen clamorous cheer. So mid the battle thunder, shot, and steel, and answering flame in the glory of manhood, passed the spirit of the Graham. From the Burial March of Dundee by Ayrton. I need to read more Ayrton. I am thoroughly enjoying it. The Island of the Scots. The stream, he said, is broad and deep, and stubborn is the foe. Yon island's strength is guarded well. Say, brothers, will ye go? From home and kin, from many a year our steps have wandered wide, and never shall our bones be laid our fathers' graves beside. No sister have we to lament, no wives to wail our fall. The traitors and the spoiler's hand have roughed our hearths of all. But we have hearts, and we have arms, as strong to will and dare, as when our ancient banners flew within the northern air. Come, brothers, let me name a spell, shall rouse your souls again, and sound the old blood bound and free, through pulse and heart and vein, call back the days of bygone years, by young and strong once more. Think yonder stream, so stark and red, is one you've crossed before. Rise hill and glen, rise crag and wood, rise up on either hand, again upon the Garry's banks, on Scottish soil we stand. Again I see the traitors wave, again the triumphants ring. Weird. Again I hear the leaders call upon them for the king. Stayed we be in the glorious day, for roaring flood or Lynn. The soul of Graham is with us still. Now, brothers, will ye in? No stay, no pause, with one rod they grasped each other's hand and plunged in the angry flood. That bold and dauntless hand, high flew the spray above their heads, yet onward still they bore. Mightst cheer the shout, the answering yell, and shot the cannon roar. Now by the Holy Cross I swear, since earth and sea began, was never such a daring deed essayed by mortal men. Thick blow the smoke across the stream, and faster flashed the flame. The water plashed in hissing jets, as ball by bullet came. Yet onward pushed the cavaliers, all stern and undismayed, with thousands armed foes before, and none behind to aid. Once, as they reached the middle stream, so strong the torrent swept, they scarce that long and living wall their dangerous footing kept. And rose a warning cry behind. a joyous shout before. The current strong, the way is long, they'll never reach the shore. See, see they staggering in the midst, they weaver in their line. Fire on the madman, men, break their ranks and whelm them in the rain. Have you seen the tall trees swaying when the blast the piping shrill, and the whirlwind needs in fury down the gorges in the hill? How they toss their mighty branches, striving with the tempest's shock. How they keep their place of vantage, cleaving firmly to the rock. Even so the Scottish warriors held their own against the river. Through the water flashed around them. Not an eye was seen to quiver. Though the shot flew sharp and deadly, not a man relaxed his hold, but their hearts were big and thrilling with the mighty thought of old. Then sternly bending forward, they struggled on a while, until they cleared the heavy stream. They rushed toward the isle. The German heart is stout and true, the German arm is strong, the German foot goes seldom back. Where armed foemen throng, but never had they faced in field so stern a charge before, and never had they felt the sweep of Scotland's broad claymore. Scarce swifter shots the bolt from heaven than came in the Scottish bend, right up against the guarded trench, and o'er the sword in hand. In vain their leaders forward press, they meet their deadly band. Long year went by, the lonely isle in Rhine's impetuous flood has ta'en another name from those who brought it with their blood, and through the legend does not live, from legends lyely die. The peasants, as he sees the stream in winter rolling by, the former o'er the channel bed, between him and a spot won by the warrior on the sword, still calls the deep and dangerous ford the passage of the Scot. By W.E. Aitken. I need to get more of his stuff. 34. The Message of Glencore. Oh, tell me, harper, wherefore flow thy wayward notes of wail and woe far down the desert of Glencore, where none may list their melody. Say, harpest thou to the mist that fly, or to the dun deer glancing by, or the eagle that from high screams? Chorus to thy minstrels? No, not to these, for they have rest. The mist wraith has the mountain crest, the stag has lair, the Erin her nest, a bourne of lonely security. What? Never mind. But those for whom I pour the lay, not wild wood deep, nor mountain grey, not this deep dell that shroud from day could screen from treacherous cruelty. Their flag was furled, and mute their drums. They very household dogs were dumb, unwont to obey the guests that came in guise of hospitality. His blithest notes the piper piped, her gayest snood, and maiden-tide the Dane her distaff flung aside, to tend her kindly housewifery. The hand that mingled in the meal, at midnight drew the felon steel, and gave the hosts kind breast to feel, meed for hospitality. The friendly hearth that warmeth the hand, the midnight armed at it with the brand, that blade destruction, flames expand their red and fearful bosom, blazonry. Long have my harp's best notes been gone, few are strings, and faint their tones. They can but sound in desert lone, the grey-haired master's misery, where each grey hair a mistral string, each echoed world impressions fling, till startled Scotland loud should ring, revenge for blood and treachery. Sir Walter Scott, another one that I thoroughly enjoy reading. I know I said that we were going to finish it, but I shall not. Not tonight. Because, good Lord, my throat is killing me. I do sincerely apologize, but for now, I will wish you adieu. I, again, do apologize, but in time we shall finish these. We may start with them next week. Let's find someone to raid. Give a little music first. Who is streaming? Yeah, I think we know who we'll do. Unfortunately, my dear, as I say, we have not quite finished. I do appreciate that, oh, my sweet. I think we all know where I'm raiding. A good friend. And you are most welcome, my dear. Don't forget, this is half your idea. Happily taking all the blame. Very good, as you should. Anyway, as I say, ta-ra, and have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining me for tonight's poetry. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would sincerely hope that you come over and join us on Twitch, Sundays at 9 p.m. GMT, for I will read many a thing. If you request it, there is a good chance it shall be read. Sleep well.